1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Hi, everybody.
Brooke has to go wherever she wants.
How are you? I'm good. Good. It's good to be in my home county.
Yeah.
Is this where you are?
Yes.
Hi. Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah.
You good?
Absolutely. Jared, you want to sit up on the
Nope.
How are you?
It's good to see you again, Comptroller.
Good to see you. The governor this morning, the Chamber of Commerce. Prince George's Chamber. Although who at the Prince George's Chamber, Peter Alex was there.
Was it a warm reception? How did they find you? Where they were?
And you are?
They're members.
Place I'm working, not doing all that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Right here, my
Michael?
Mic check, mic check. 1 2 1 2. You guys hear me in the back all right? Excellent. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Order of operations here.
Okay.
Putting there. So you. This is you.
Okay. Oh, we're all gonna.
Lies. Sorry, I reversed in my head.
Are we all supposed to stand up here?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I don't think any of them know that.
Okay.
So.
So speak, stand, then kind of temptations out.
Okay. Okay.
Water? Anything?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Hot mic.
Great.
You can all thank me later.
Yeah. Well, this is great. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Brooke Lierman, honored to be the 34th Comptroller of the state of Maryland. I'm delighted to be here in Prince George's County today to officially mark being 1 month into the 2025 tax filing season. So we began accepting tax returns in tandem with the IRS on January 27th. So we are now at February 27th, 1 month in, and we have a couple months to go until April 15th. I am so proud and honored to lead a team of 1,200 dedicated Marylanders working hard on behalf of people across the state. And this is a very busy season for all of us. And I am delighted to be here with some amazing friends and supporters from across the state and our local jurisdictions to talk about a new tool that we are very pleased to be offering this year, and that is Direct File. So without further ado, I want to thank our Congressman, U.S. Representative Steny Hoyer, who was a leader in ensuring that Direct File passed. I want to thank Maryland Department of Human Services Deputy Secretary Gloria Brown Burnett. Thank you for all of your work and your team. Robin McKinney of the Cash Campaign of Maryland and Pablo Blank of CASA, who are amazing VITA partners. So thank you both. Secretary Paul Monteiro, who's here with some of their amazing their fellows from the Office of Service and Civic Innovation. So thank you all for your incredible work. I know Wanika Fisher is about to step in, Councilmember Wanika Fisher, and Deputy Chief Administrative Officer Jerry McCarthy. So it's great to have all of you here. And really, we're here today to highlight two things. First, we want to highlight the fact, actually I want to say three things. First is the reason that we're here, and it is tax season. And taxes, as much as people don't like to talk about taxes, taxes are the glue that hold our society together in many ways. They are funding our roads, our bridges, funding health insurance, health care for people, our schools, our parks, the things that we love often in our communities that draw us to those communities are funded because we've all decided to make this social compact work by all of us chipping in our fair share. And so I think it's important when we talk about taxes, we don't just talk about sort of the painful part of giving up some of what we earned or paying a little more when we buy a good or serve some goods, but also talk about the outcome of taxes, and that's so important. The second thing I want to talk about is that we can't do this work without partnership. Our vision in the Office of the Comptroller is to work in partnership to create a state that's more equitable, more resilient, and more prosperous so that every Marylander can reach their full potential. And we can't do that without partners. That's why we start by talking about partnership. And that means with our federal electeds, it means with our state agency, the Moore Miller administration, and it means with our nonprofit partners like Cash Campaign, like CASA, who are doing important work in every single community to make sure that people who need help filing their tax returns can get that help. These are folks who want to do the right thing, right? They want to make sure that they're chipping in, even though they don't have a lot to give. And we want to make sure that they're able to get what's owed to them, like the Earned Income Tax Credit or the Child Tax Credit. So I'm so grateful to get to lead an agency that partners so readily and willingly and enthusiastically with great partners like all of you. So thank you. And the final thing that I want to talk about, which is really part of the impetus for being here today, is Direct File. It's really simple. Direct File is just a better way to file your taxes. And we've seen high satisfaction rates of those who have filed across the country. 98% of people who use Direct File report being satisfied or very satisfied using Direct File. Maryland is proud to be one of the 25 states participating in the IRS Direct File program this year. We know that 30 million Americans and almost 1 million Marylanders will be eligible to use Direct File this year, and that means they'll be able to save time and money this year on filing because they can save time with the option in Direct File to import existing information into their federal and state tax returns. They can access the site on their smartphones. They can engage with the platform in English and in Spanish, and they can file without paying for the privilege with their hard-earned money. It is free. So 1 month into tax season, hundreds of Marylanders have submitted a return through Maryland's portal, our Direct File portal, which we partnered with Code for America to build, and that number is growing. Prince George's County is one of the top 5 jurisdictions of counties using Direct File, and we know that many more people will be using Direct File before April 15th. Congressman Hoyer and I were just so pleased to tour the VITA site here that is operated by DSS in conjunction with the Office of Service and Civic Innovation volunteers. And anybody who, folks can't, there are so many people who want to be able to get an appointment who can't. And so Direct File is such an important option for so many Marylanders across the state, including those who can't make it in to get their help here at a VITA site. Thank you all for being here. Thanks for helping us to spread the word about Direct File. Folks need to know that this is a tool that's been built specifically with them in mind to help them file their tax returns, to help them get their earned income tax credit, to help them get their child tax credit so that they can get on with their lives. So I'm honored and delighted to be here today with such an amazing group of people. And now I am so pleased to turn it over to Congressman Steny Hoyer to talk more about Direct File in this tax season. Thank you, Congressman. Thank you. Thanks for all your leadership in getting this done.
Thank you very much. We have an extraordinary comptroller of the state of Maryland. Now, everybody doesn't know about the comptroller, but the comptroller is one of the three most important people in our state. Now, don't tell the President of the Senate, I used to be that, or the Speaker of the House that I said that, but the fact of the matter is the comptroller of our state participates with the governor of our state and the treasurer of our state in making all the critical fiscal decisions of our state. So not only is she charged with the responsibility of fairly collecting the taxes that are owed and making sure that people understand how to file their taxes, and as a taxpayer in Maryland, I am always amazed, and I consciously overpay. So almost every year I get not a lot back, but I get it back, and I'm really pleased, and I get it back so quickly. Thank you, Brooke Lierman, for the effectiveness that you're doing in your shop. And I want to thank all of those of you with state and with private nonprofit organizations or profit organizations who help participate. And I want to thank these three young people. Why don't you just stand up with your red shirts on? Now, what I loved about these three young people, the comptroller and I went around and talked to them. There was a common theme among these three. We love to help people. And they're all well-trained. They had to go to a training program. And people come in who are befuddled, as so many are, about paying their taxes. And what they want to do is pay them correctly. That's what they want to do. We're very advantaged in America where we have essentially a voluntary system. And I'll talk a little bit about that as we're reducing the number of people who are going to make sure that you paid what you owed. But thank you very much, young people. They come from three different high schools in Prince George's County, but they all have that same passion to make sure that people are educated and confident that they've done the right thing. And Arthur? No. Told me that they go out of here, and you told me as well, they go out of here happy. Now, I'm going to tell some people, I went to a place where they help people pay taxes, and they all left happy. They may not believe me, of course, but I'm going to tell them that. So thank you very much for what you're doing. It's a pleasure to be here. And my first line, I want Ms. Lierman to hear this. My first line is this: it's a pleasure to be here with our partners. Did you talk to them before we came here? Because it is a partnership. My friend Hillary Clinton said it takes a village. It takes all of us working together to make sure that we help one another. And I'm sure the people come in here, they earned a little bit of money, maybe more than a little bit of money, but and one of the things they did while they were earning that money is to help people. But they needed help as well to do something that maybe they didn't have as much knowledge of. And so they came here. And the Direct File program advantaged them. I was pleased to be the majority leader for a long period of time. And one of the bills I put on the floor, because that's what the majority leader does, decides what you're going to put on the floor to be passed, a bill called the IRA I call it the IRA for the USA. It was Inflation Reduction Act is what IRA stood for. But it was also reducing costs. And that's what Direct File does, because on average, individual taxpayers spend approximately 13 hours doing their taxes. I know you have a lot of people come in CASA and say, gee, I spent so much time and I'm still not sure I'm right. And I'm worried about sending in something that's not correct. And that's what these 3 young people are trying to do. Make sure that they do it correctly and are confident that they did it correctly. That's 13 hours, and they spend on average $270. You hear all these advertisements about, come in and we'll do your taxes, this, that, and the other. And they scare people. I don't like that. They scare people. The tax collector's out to get you. As a matter of fact, I think we're going to have a hearing on that, Brooke, in the Congress. David Joyce, who's the chairman of the committee, I'm the senior member of the committee, but they're in charge. Not by much, but they're in charge. And so I'm the ranking member, which means I'm the senior member of the minority party. But we work together on this. Since our government requires Americans, you don't have an option. It's not a voluntary system, although we have about 80% voluntary compliance. We're one of the highest in the world on that. And the easier we make it, the more compliance there will be on a voluntary basis. But since we require that we do it, our theory was we ought to help people do it. And that's what you're doing. And we ought to make sure, as you indicated, whether it's child tax credit, earned income tax credit, that they get the credits that we wanted to give them, that Congress passed and the President signed, that's in law, so that we help the people that we wanted to help. And of course, in both those instances, children are helped because their family will have more money to buy their clothes, to buy their food, to make sure they have proper housing, et cetera, et cetera. As I said, I was proud to be not only one of the sponsors of the bill in which this was located, but also to put it on the floor. Once this, you heard 25 states have Direct File now. It started out with 12, and it was so popular. Madam Councilwoman, glad to see you here, Wanika Fisher, a member of the council. I was so proud when we had the first returns from the 12 states that tried it. As you pointed out, almost everybody, maybe a couple were, but almost everybody said, this is so much easier for me to do. And as you say, feel much better when I leave your office and have a sense that I did this right. Nobody's going to hassle me. And as you pointed out and Brooke pointed out, well, they're probably happy because they're getting some money back. And that's a good thing because we don't want people to overpay. We want to pay what they owe. Once implemented nationwide, this tool could save taxpayers $11 billion. That's a lot of money. Direct File is also projected to help taxpayers access $12 billion in tax credits that they otherwise would not have gotten. Unfortunately, so many people who are eligible for the earned income tax credit or eligible for the child tax credit don't take it. And therefore, the help to those children and those families is not delivered as the Congress wanted it to happen. That's why it's no surprise that recent IRS studies show that 72% of American taxpayers support having this option. Now, I don't know why it's not 100%. There's some people who want to say, frankly, to the American taxpayer and to families and to children and to teachers, I can go on, you're on your own. I call that the yo-yo theory. You're on your own. Take care of yourself. But if we require you to do something, we darn well ought to help you do it, and do it with self-confidence. When the IRS launched its 12 states, 140,000 people participated. We're now going to have millions participate. 90% of them rated the experience positively. I think you had a little higher percentage, and I think probably you have probably more current information than I have. Direct File is government efficiency done right. Hear me. Government efficiency is not going into a place and saying, you're all fired, and having no, I won't put an adjective to it, no idea the consequences of what you're doing. They have a lot of knowledge about how to get rid of people. What they don't have a lot of knowledge of is who those people are helping every day. Direct File is government efficiency done right. I will repeat that. It's not what's being done now. They're firing, for instance, 6,700 IRS agents. Now, we have trillions of dollars in returns. Not trillions of returns, but trillions cumulative in returns. Millions and millions of returns being filed. And the IRS has less people now than it did 10 years ago. Those 6,700 people were also in the IRA, and what they intended to do? It's very easy, young people, for somebody to bring in a W-2. And that's probably all the papers they have, maybe, because they work, and every week the feds, the state, takes their taxes out every 2 weeks, every month. So by the end of the tax year, they've paid their taxes. But that's not true of people who don't get a salary, and they get a lot of money in other ways. Capital gains is one, sales of goods, others. They've got to do that themselves to make sure that they disclose what they made. Those agents are not for the tax return that is like that. It's tax returns that are like this. And when you take them up, when you fire them, these were provisional employees, but that doesn't mean you had 1 month's training. They probably had 6 months training and had been there for 1, 2, maybe even up to 3 years. And they were just dismissed. Let me tell you what that means. There used to be about 10% of these large returns gone over to make sure they'd paid the right thing. Over the last 10 years, that has reduced to 0.6%. 0.6% of returns over $1 million are checked. That means 99.4% of those returns are never checked. Now, let me ask you something. I'm getting a little animated about Direct File here. Let me ask you something. If you thought the chances of your getting caught if you didn't file correctly were 0.6 points, and there were 99.4% chance that you wouldn't get checked, what's your incentive? Forget about criminality. Just say there's a little bit of doubt. What do? The doubt goes to you, so you don't pay, you don't report. And therefore, guess what happens to the person who has this return? Their percentage of taxes is higher. So it's not a no consequence act. These are federal workers who answer customer service calls from taxpayers who handle tax disputes, and that's very important for them. Americans get their tax refunds on time if you have sufficient personnel, who go after fraudsters and cheats, which is what I just talked about, who try to get out of paying what they owe. The IRS has been chronically understaffed, I told you that, for decades. So I'm very pleased as the ranking member of the committee, and again, as I say, if we were in charge, I'd be the chairman. And I would not let this happen. I hope we don't let it happen. Not for the taxpayer with this return, but for the taxpayers with this return, so they don't pay more than they should. Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in America, said his secretary pays a higher rate of taxes than he does. And he, to his credit, says that's wrong. That's what this program is about. Thank you very much, Brooke Lierman, for being such a leader on this program. Thank you all.
And thank you so much, Congressman, for your amazing leadership in creating this and helping to bring this program to fruition and making sure that it could expand so that more and more Americans can take advantage of it. It is so essential. Thank you. I will note just the other day, I was at an event in Baltimore and met an IRS auditor who had been laid off the day before. And it just, it reminds you that these are essential federal employees to ensure we have the funds we need. Are also Marylanders, right, who are losing their livelihoods. And it will affect not just federal incomes, federal revenues. It will affect state revenues. There is not a single state in this country who can do the complex audits at the level that the IRS can do them. We all piggyback off the IRS and their findings. And so it will hurt. It hurts every state's revenues as well when the IRS is not funded to the tune that it should be. Thank you so much for your work. And next, we're going to hear from our DHS Deputy Secretary, Gloria Brown Burnett. Thank you so much for being here, Deputy Secretary.
Good afternoon. And as the Comptroller said, I am Gloria Brown Burnett, Deputy Secretary of Operations for the Maryland Department of Human Services. It's my pleasure to be with you today and alongside many of our non-public state and federal partners without whom we could not do this work. I want to highlight and recognize State Comptroller Brooke Lierman for her tenacity on this effort. Congressman Steny Hoyer, who has been, just amazing throughout his career, but I've had the opportunity to work with him in several capacities. Secretary Paul Montero with the Department of Service and Civic Innovation, Robin McKinney of the Cash Campaign, Pablo Blanc of CASA, Council Member Juanica Fisher. Always pleasure to have you in the house. Thank you for your tireless work on behalf of Marylanders and those we serve. We at the Maryland Department of Human Services, along with our partners, are committed to the governor's mission of ending childhood poverty and leaving no one behind. In 2025, we launched a bold new initiative to help with those goals. Working together, we created a new cross-agency partnership bringing together the Cash Campaign of Maryland and the Department of Service and Civic Innovation. Together, we established volunteer income tax assistance sites homed at departments of social services. Local departments in Prince George's and Baltimore County are our first to launch. This collaboration engages Maryland Corps members that you've met, supported by the DSCI, who receive specialized tax preparation training and IRS certification through the Cash Campaign. The program serves county residents with a household income of $67,000 or less from the last taxable year, helping them to electronically file their state and federal tax returns at no cost. This free tax preparation service helps Marylanders retain their hard-earned money and access valuable credits like the Earned Income Tax Credit and the Child Tax Credit. We know these tax credits are critical for supporting families and combating poverty. We are grateful to all of our partners who made this program a reality, including the Governor's Office, the Comptroller's Office, the Maryland Department of Service and Civic Innovation, Cash Campaign of Maryland, and the Prince George's and Baltimore County Departments of Social Services. I want to give a special shout out to Stephen Liggett-Creel, who is the director of the Prince George's County Department of Social Services, and Mark Millspaugh, the director of the Baltimore County Department of Social Services, who stepped up and volunteered to take on this effort. We are intentionally meeting people where they already are. When our customers have an inquiry or are applying for benefits for the first time, they can now also have their taxes prepared. This is huge. In just over a week, we've processed, well, over a couple weeks, we've processed 37 returns in our 2 sites. In this Vita site in Prince George's County alone, the average federal refund was $2,698. And the average state refund is $883. We are excited to work to help those we serve keep more money in their pockets at this time when it's most needed. And we look forward to serving many more families this tax season. We know as time moves on, the numbers are going to creep up. Families who have made use of this program are expressing their excitement at having this service available closer to home. Many customers already plan to return next year, and we look forward to serving them in the future. This work is what successful partnership looks like. Partnership's not always comfortable. Sometimes it's very uncomfortable, but in true partnership, you give up some of yourself in order to receive what's for the greater good. And this is what true partnership looks like. For anyone interested in scheduling an appointment with Prince George's County to have their taxes, if you meet the criteria. Prince George's County, we encourage you to visit socialservices.mypgc.us/tax-prep or just call 301-316-7900. We are here to help and want to encourage especially those who are coming in for our services to take advantage of this. And before I end, I would be remiss if I did not recognize Deputy Chief Administrative Officer Jared McCarthy, who is here on behalf of the County Executive.
Thank you so much, Deputy Secretary. I also want to recognize a couple other folks who I missed. We are so delighted to have Jordan Hines here from Senator Alsobrook's office and Joseph Pruden from Congressman Ivey's office. Thank you so much for joining us and for your dedication to this work. And now we're going to hear from 2 of our amazing VITA partners, Cash Campaign and CASA, who both help through their volunteer efforts, help hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, thousands of Marylanders every year file their tax returns. So Robin and Pablo, the floor is yours.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. This is the 1 month into tax season voice. Some of you you may have it soon if you hadn't gotten it already. So I'm Robin McKinney. I'm the co-founder and CEO of the Cash Campaign of Maryland. Cash stands for Creating Assets, Savings, and Hope. And we promote economic advancement for families and individuals in Baltimore City and across the state. By April 15th this year, our partners will have prepared over 20,000 free tax returns, bringing back $30 million into the pockets of low to moderate income taxpayers here in Maryland. To say it's a team sport is like the biggest understatement. I was telling our incredible Maryland Corps members that I started in this work 24 years ago when I was very young, but I started out as a volunteer. I was at the Casey Foundation at the time. I started as a volunteer, and now I'm the CEO. So you never know what your path could be. And for the volunteers and the staff who are really the lifeblood of free tax preparation, I'll never forget my first tax return. It's kind of like when you're driving and you lock your elbows and you're terrified to make a turn. That's how I think my fingers were on the keyboard the first year, especially as a social worker who, like, numbers was not always my strength. But what I realized, and what I think our wonderful Maryland Corps members are realizing, it is about helping people. It is about that connection. It's taking someone who is they are just as terrified as you are in that moment of, am I going to owe? Am I going to get in trouble? Am I doing this correctly? And to be there on the front lines, this is a social work service. This is a huge benefit. And of course, for us, we want to connect people to good bank accounts, to financial education, to all the other things to help them to meet their financial goals. But as wonderful as our programs are, and I want to see more of them, to have this partnership with Maryland Corps, with the Department of Human Services is awesome. We want this. I'd love to see it in every county. But we still know that despite we can grow as much as we want, right now about half of the people who want an appointment are able to get one. I heard the folks saying earlier they're already booked into the end of March across the state. Almost all of our sites are already booked through the end of tax season already as of right now. So we just cannot keep the demand. In Baltimore City alone, we get about 20,000 calls to serve 10,000 people. So that the demand is huge. And this is where Direct File really comes in. For folks that have the one piece of paper, the one W-2, I know it seems terrifying to do it yourself, but like, look, if you can like make a reel on Instagram or TikTok, like trust you can probably do your taxes. If you can edit and you get the effects and all that, I trust and believe that you can do a simple tax return. So to be able to have this resource that, again, you can do it on your phone, it's available in English and Spanish. It guides you through. You don't have to understand all the tax law that is behind every single thing you're doing. They're going to ask you the questions. The group, nonprofit Code for America, that has done the incredible work behind this. This wasn't just some people sitting in an office saying, oh, let's like clickety-clack and make an app. This was tested with real humans. This has that human-centered design to make sure that that's why you're seeing these customer satisfaction numbers, because it was built with people in mind. It was built with you in mind. And so while I would love for every single person to be able to come into a volunteer income tax site, we know it's not possible. And Direct File isn't just a safe option, it's a great option. So we hope that everyone in the state of Maryland who is eligible that can do it themselves will go to Direct File. And again, thank you much to Brooke, to our electeds. Like, it's, again, team sport out here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. My name is Pablo Blanc. I am the Director of Immigrant Integration with CASA. And thank you, Comptroller, for your leadership and partnership all around the state. We have VITA sites here in Prince George County as well. And we serve around 2,000 taxpayers with other 3 VITA sites that we have in Maryland, Pennsylvania, Virginia. And we serve people in French, Spanish, and English. We have people, we serve also immigrants. If you make less than $67,000 a year, there is no reason that you pay to have your tax prepared. You have the option of Direct File, thanks to the leadership of Comptroller Brooke Lierman, who made that possible. We are only one of the 25 states who did that, and her leadership makes sure that we are one of them. So if you make less than $67,000, do the Direct File or come to one of the VITA sites. Of course, the federal government should allocate much bigger amounts of money to pay VITA sites because, as Robin said, we don't have the capacity to serve everyone. But call us first and be one of those who receive free tax preparation by professionals who are certified by the IRS. If you don't feel comfortable enough to do it by yourself, if you feel that you can deal with a secure internet connection and you feel comfortable filling out forms online, Direct File is a great tool for you as well. So thank you so much for this, and I want to say that when we said that we also serve immigrants, even though the environment, we have not seen a big reduction of immigrants paying taxes. We still have the full capacity our VITA sites. And I think that usually people say you pay with your dollars. Many immigrants cannot vote in elections, but they vote with the dollars. And they are voting by paying taxes. They are voting to stay here. They are voting to work and to pay taxes and have a life here. So thank you so much, everyone. For this opportunity, and please, if you make less than $67,000, don't pay for your taxes. Go to a VITA site or use Direct File. Thank you so much.
I'd like to invite Congressman, would you like to come up? Would you all like to come up for a second? Just stand with us. Secretary, Councilwoman, you're welcome. So in conclusion, we just want to sort of put all the faces together on our partners here to make this happen. 1 month into tax season, come on over.
There's more room over here.
Yeah, come on over, guys. Yep. Here, come on through.
Sorry.
Come on through. Yeah, sure. So 1 month into tax season, a couple months to go. We are so proud to be working all together to make sure that Marylanders have options in filing their tax returns. Taxes are what makes so many of the things that we love possible: our roads, our bridges, our teachers, our schools, our parks, and we are all in it here to make sure that people can file with confidence and for free. Whether you use one of our VITA partners through the Cash Campaign, CASA, DHS, and other options, or you use Direct File. Direct File really is just a simply better way to file your tax returns. And again, it's available in English and in Spanish. For more information, you can visit the Comptroller of Maryland's website. You can go to marylandtaxes.gov/direct file. So April 15th is our tax deadline this year. We encourage everybody to get help, get filed, and let's do this. Thanks, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks very much. Thanks, everyone. Thank you. Oh, we're going to do one group picture. Hey, great. Thank you.